let's get introduced first. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Shams. It's my first year at IU in the PhD program, and I'll share my research interests because, as you know, it's the first year, so still under the coursework. It's not like I'm into the research yet. But definitely this discussion will be insightful and will help me further shaping more what I want to work on. So before I begin, one more thing. I'm originally from Bangladesh. If you know, it's just an adjacent country to India. So let's get to know each other briefly. Yeah, please.
Alex.
Alex.
I'm an English major. Here because I'm interested in literature and also want to learn German.
Awesome. English major, you said?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm Jeff. I'm informatics and a German major.
Mm-hmm.
And I was taking this class at the week, but I also want to improve my German class with that.
Jeff.
Yes.
I'm Katie. I'm studying German and International Studies and Criminal Justice. And I'm here because I'm interested in suddenly I won't speak English.
That's fine.
And climate change and running climate change and stuff like that. And
Awesome.
Also never really had a chance to take a class about climate change that kind of overlaps with what I'm actually studying. So
Gotcha. Katie.
yes.
Pleasure meeting you.
My name is Ethan. I'm a psychology and German major. And I just like speaking German.
It's fine. It's not the first language as well. It's the second language. So Ethan, we met earlier in the theater.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Me too, yeah.
Yes, I interviewed. Yeah, I remember. That's what I was thinking. I met you guys.
Yeah.
Please.
I'm Sophia. I'm a finance and international business major, and I'm minoring in German. And I'm here, I guess, because my family speaks German, and I want to be able to communicate with them.
And for particularly interest in this course.
Oh, well, it was like the only one that worked with my schedule, but
Fine,
honestly,
cool. Yeah.
it's been really interesting. I took a environmental science class in high school, and I was really interested in it, but I haven't really been given the opportunity to take another climate class because
Okay.
of my major, and
Yeah.
this just so happened to really work out because it was the only one that worked with my schedule, and it was actually one I was interested in.
Yeah, please.
I'm Cooper. I major in environmental and sustainability studies, my minor in German and water resources. I'm here because this is a great intersection between my studies. I was like, oh my gosh, I enjoyed the class, but I also have to talk about the climate crisis. It's all I do. I do so much of environmentalism and climate, so I was really excited to take a course about that in the German context. And also, I have anxiety about my German abilities, and thus I had brought that up before. So I was like, what must it be? You know,
Sorry, come again, your name?
Oh, Cooper.
Cooper.
Yes, my apologies.
No, I'm sorry, I missed it maybe.
No,
yeah.
no,
Okay.
We're all good. We're all
Thank
good.
you. Nice meeting you, Cooper.
It's a pleasure.
Davis.
Yeah, I'm Davis. I study law and public policy and German, and kind of like Sophia, I'm here because this
We're the only ones getting matched with this
was the one that
Yeah.
matched my schedule, but also I mean, as a law and public policy major, I do work with environmental stuff on occasion, like environmental policy.
Very
I
cool.
do find it very important, but mainly I'm here just to practice my German and not use it.
Oh wow, sorry. Today we can't practice that.
That's okay. But like I said, I'm excited
For the presentation, yeah, we'll talk about it, yeah. So before I get into my topic, would like to know what you have been dealing with, particularly in this course. Theater and Anthropocene, as far as I know, right?
Mhm.
So I'll pick it up from there, connected with, though I'm not a theater background person, but I study visual arts. And we'll try to see some questions of Anthropocene and how visual arts address those questions. And my references would be from live art performance and cinema as well. And I'm sure the whole semester you have been practicing or studying how theater addresses those questions. or even if it's a new question that I'm asking, or any connection with the previous questions that you already have experience in this course. Gotcha. So to begin with, just a warm up. You can use your phone, device, laptop, whatever. Just scan the QR, and it will take you to a page which is, let's see, da-da-da. We all are here? Now, my question is, oh, sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah. Don't respond anything in the Padlet before I elaborate the question. Ta-da, here it goes. We all got it? Nice. So you can see two images, the first two images, the last two images not discussion topic at the moment. We'll get back to that later. So the first two images look like this, right? So my question to you is, if you click the plus button, it should be there at the bottom. Or if you're using your phone, it should be in the middle of the bottom. You can post your reflections. And the question is, so these two images, what kind of impact it's giving you? What's your first reflection when you say this? Whatever it is. It's not an academic question. It's just a viewer seeing two images and the first reflection that gets in your mind about this and this. Kind of the question is centered around impactness. So the impact of it, like you see it, it's for the viewers. Same. This is another image. So what's the impact of it to you? How do you connect? Whatever you feel like, just write anything. And if you post it here, it should be visible. I'll refresh it. Oh yeah, people are typing. This one is a book cover, by the way. Also from our live art installation art. And that's a pretty cliche metaphor and also a real image. Like this was a floating iceberg that Times covered. But it has been used in other theories as well, like iceberg theory, psychoanalysis theory, culture diversity theory, and all that. It has become a metaphor.
I just was surprised by it.
Oh yeah, should I help you?
Oh, no, we're good. I got it. I got
Gotcha.
it now. There we go. Okay.
You all got it? Now I'm worried, why can't I see? Is it not visible? It should be visible, right? Dee-dee-dee. Oh, one more thing I should have mentioned. Can you please write your name as well? Because there will be lots of comments and then we cannot track back who commented.
Should we comment to both pictures or just to one?
The first two. Yes. Yeah.
I don't know how to make it so.
Any tech difficulties you guys are having? Then Ethan can help. Is it you who commented first?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I had some trouble at first. But I guess I figured it out.
I did it.
Awesome.
You can see it on the right.
Okay. Oh, that's Cooper. Yeah. So when you guys write your names, it's easy to find out.
How do you?
Are you guys still thinking?
Down and I dragged it.
Cool. Almost. No rush. We're chilling. It's a pretty rainy, drizzly weather. Yeah? Okay. The picture on the left. just a quick question. Okay, so let's say the caption here in the newspaper is the iceberg was seen, blah, blah, that time, that day, in that region, floating, whatever. Then you'd say the same?
Yeah.
Very good.
It's more
You got
showing like nature in its like natural setting.
Yep. That's a cool response, thank you. It can overlap, that's fine. Yeah. You don't have to arrange stuff.
Oh, yeah, mit einem Post-Verknüpfen.
What's that?
It means you can like connect it with the post. So
Oh,
mine was way down in the bottom.
gotcha. Pretty interesting.
And so yeah.
Yeah, I'm just taking it up.
Yeah.
And I'll take this down so that you guys get more space here. Ta-da. Oh, Ethan wrote Glacier. It's in first the name. I mean, Glacier as a name it appeared. You know what I mean? As a title. I mean, Ethan.
So I didn't know where I was supposed
That's fine. It's fine. I'm just poking around.
Glacier?
You know, first
I
time,
know it's
who's
not
Glacier? I
instant.
met everyone, I guess. So then I thought,
know.
oh no, the Ethan wrote it. Right? All done?
I was trying to figure out how to make it work.
Was it fun? Let's move. We all done? Pretty cool. So now that we had a little warm up, I'll come back to these responses when I go to the other two images in the same Padlet. But before that, I'd like to set the grounds for today. So this is in MoMA, Museum of Modern Art. Have you guys been there? Anyone? Oh,
Years and years, like 8 years
I mean,
ago. Yeah.
you think about the year? It's fine. Oh, no, it's in New York.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's the New York one. So Young's Composition 5. This is a live art performance that was in 1960. And it's a beautiful performance. So I'll read it out loud now. Because it was a live art, so we don't have images or videos of it. So it is placed as an exhibition item in the museum or art gallery like this. So I'll just read it out. Composition 1960, number 5. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, and other compositions as well. And this composition starts like this. Turn a butterfly or a number of butterflies loose in the performance area. When the composition is over, be sure to allow the butterfly to fly away outside, so the windows has to be open. The composition may be any length that can be infinite, because when they will go away, the doors and windows may be open before the butterflies turn loose, and composition may be considered finished when the butterfly or butterflies when they fly away. Now, after this performance, this is a very famous performance, by the way. Someone commented from the audience, and let me take it there as well. With the So this is an interview piece, and I'll read out loud. Someone named Dan suggested that perhaps the reason the director of the noon concerts at the university would not allow me to perform composition number 5 on the third concert of contemporary music that we gave was that he thought it was not a music. The question was, someone objected, I couldn't hear anything. Where is the composition? I came here to hear a composition. And then he responded to it. Let's pick up from here. He responded that there was a composition. I said that this was the usual attitude of human beings, quote unquote. I mean, he's saying it in the interview. that everything in the world should exist for them, and that I disagree. I said it didn't seem to me at all necessary that anyone or anything should have to hear sounds, and that is enough that they exist for themselves. The reason I picked it up, this is kind of the philosophy that while talking about environment or nature, other visual art practitioners, filmmakers, or live art performance artists picked up this philosophy that the Anthropocene forces us to rethink the limitation of human beings. We cannot hear and see everything. The human agency, the way the mediums we use, for example, camera, can capture everything. It cannot capture wind. You need the audio to put it. So can it smell when you see a food? No. So there are things, there are limitations, like in camera, there are limitations. In human agency, there are plenty of limitations. And the problem is human beings, the way that in the performance happened, as you can see, I just have quoted it from another paper. So when Young said that there was a sound, you couldn't hear it doesn't mean it didn't exist. So the problem is human centrism or anthropocentrism comes to this discussion. This has become a discourse that when we create a center-margin relationship, the way we see in race, in gender studies, human and non-human living entities. By non-human, I do not mean post-human or cyborg or terminators. I mean non-human living entities. So human and non-human, so between these two entities, there is a power dynamics. And that's because of our lack of agency. Like we have limitations, we do not, or we cannot perhaps, with our own verbal language, may not be able to communicate with trees or plants or animals or earth or soil, the wind, which are lively entities like human beings. And human has this tendency that they are the center of the universe and everything rotates and exists to serve them. That has created actually all the trash, quote unquote, that we have seen in the first image perhaps. Now the thing is, what's wrong with these images? If you see the title, so there are two aspects. It's not like I made a pun out of it, Julie Doyle made it. Imaging and imagining. So the way you imagine, that's one thing. The way you create an image, if I make a verb or participle verb, noun verb, imaging nature, the way it is imaged. The problem with these images are, these are spectacular, grand images. It creates an alienation that Doyle argues. I'm not saying it. I'm saying these images are statistics like, let's say, data, melting glaciers, flooded zones, which are important. But how much it can, so let's put it in this way. Seeing is not enough. You know what I mean? So what's the difference between seeing and reading? Just improvising my lecture a little bit, just to get into the problem. We see when we read, right? We use our eyes to read. So what's the difference between seeing and reading?
Comprehension.
Awesome. Anything else?
How you imagine the scene?
Very good. Yeah, pretty much we all read, yeah.
I'd say reading is often more active. Seeing can be active, but it also doesn't necessarily constitute that.
Awesome.
Whereas reading requires focus.
It's kind of you synthesize it. There's a call for action button in reading. In seeing might not be. Make sense what I'm saying? So the image with this kind of images or imagining nature with these images, the crisis is, definitely there are Anthropocene projects and films, these are documentary films, which are not my area of studies, by the way. I'm still pitching the background. And why my area of study is not this kind of images, rather than what kind of images that I'm talking about. We'll get to that point. So we have various documentary films talking about Anthropocene, which means definitely the human impact on planet and environment. We all know that. And these images create a distance because it's not a call for action button from your end. You're not there. Your region, your home, your house, it's not a part of your daily life. That's what the point is. So how can we image nature where you feel like there is a call for action button for you? Make sense what I'm saying? Yes, we understand that data definitely needed. Definitely there are climate prone areas. I'll show you more images of that. But so the background is my concern was seeing is not enough and reading requires more than seeing. Seeing may evoke those call for action buttons, but not necessary, as Cooper said, and you all said, like it's reading requires more than that. And cinema, problematically, based on spectacle. AVANT-GARDE, Aquaman, all addressed in various ways environmental aspects, but in a seeing approach, spectacle, grand. So you feel it's kind of glorifying abuse, glorifying rape, glorifying racism. So when you glorify that, ecological rape is also a term, by the way. So you know what glorification is? When you don't feel bad, you feel good. You want it in 3D. There's a difference. Make sense what I'm saying? So that's how the argument started. Then how can we image nature in different ways that will not glorify ecological abuse, that will not present itself as a spectacle, but a call for action from your end. So definitely mainstream films, doc films are very important in that way. But then I came across this interesting book. So if you study critical theory, you will be, I would say, get various perspectives of questioning reality, like what is real? My eyes cannot see it, then how will I comprehend real? So this is an interesting quote from Greenway. I'll just read it out loud. The business of seeing and looking is curious. So you have eyes doesn't mean you can see. That's the bottom line. Then how do we see, right? Because we read. It's not seeing is not enough. We involve, we engage with all the senses, with all our possible sensory organs, and we invest with our brain. That's how we comprehend it or read an image. And gives us very cute, sweet metaphor of a child looking at the ceiling. We all have watched a baby lying on his backs, staring, fascinated, apparently at nothing, or at very little, a space of light on a ceiling, a conjunction of simple shapes, where the ceiling meets a wall. We have tried to follow his eye line, wondered what it is he's actually staring at. With such intense concentration, repeatedly returning to examine and make sense of what he's looking at things that to us seem extremely minimal and ephemeral. So when we become adult, we actually don't see many things that maybe, if you have pets, for instance, cats, you might not know why the cat is running around like that, or a laser, or whatever. So it's children saying. So when we're adult, our focus of image changes. So what happens when we are adult that we miss, and when we're a kid, that those ephemeral and simple things they can just stare at for hours and day long, right? So those are the pretty interesting questions that made me come to my question. So I reached to my question like this. I started investigating how films could challenge the traditional power dynamics. The way since ages it has been talked about how power dynamic exists in race, in gender, in other aspects, in class, social class, economic class, but about human and non-human living entities. So how images represent that. So that's the bottom line, the ways in which films go beyond constraints of human perception. And the cinema requires you seeing, but how can it add this reading? And so mostly as an audience, the way we are pre-programmed, when we have to read on cinema, we disengage. We don't want to see the film anymore. It happens. You put a text, you scan a book page and just put it on make a short film, you'll see no one is interested to read. No one will pause and read. They just skip it. So that's because of the habit actually. But you can change the habit if you want. But that's not the only way. I'm just giving a simple example. So how I can find contents, let's put it in that way, creating contents or artsy contents. So any artifact that give rise to a fully immersive and comprehensive sense of ecocentric and ambient realities. The way I use these terms, the reason I use these terms, ecocentric reality is different than Anthropocene. Can anyone say why it's different? It's part of the bigger umbrella. Yes, Anthropocene is a big umbrella. But there's a slight difference when I'm narrowing down the term. That's why the title of this. So it's not like I repeated the same thing. It's not like a repetition or verbose. Rather, it connects to a different reality. Even in Anthropocene, the question is, are we seeing an image or a live art performance or theater or cinema still from human-centric perspective? That's the question. You know what I mean? Then hardly we can solve it. It will be just a checkbox then. Like in races, it's just a checkbox. Or in gender issues, it's a checkbox. I doubt then we can literally solve the issue like coexistence, symbiosis, right? That's the purpose. Literally coexistence, not in numbers. So we're not talking about glaciers and spectacles, and number data. So we want coexistence. Human and non-human living entities coexist symbiotically, definitely interdependent on each other. So that's why I started finding out how can I look for evidences of ecocentric reality. Definitely, these all connect to the bigger umbrella, like the shoulder of Anthropocene. But that's the difference between these films, which definitely talked about serious issues, how human activities impact climate, versus now what my finding is then. So there are fiction, non-fiction, both kinds of films. First, I'll show you some non-fiction ones. Then I'll, maybe if we have time, I can show you some fiction as well. So these are the films. I'll share everything with you guys so that you can explore later if you want some of those papers or these films. Non-fiction films that attempted, I could say. I won't say the makers of the productions intentionally approached ecocentric reality. That is not possible to prove. But they attempted certain kind of coexistence. There is no center margin among or between human, nature, non-human living entities, animal spaces, whatever. So the treatment, so my approach is, I'm trying to look at, then how do you tell the story? There is a story in everything, right? How do you tell it? How your camera work is different than the other kind of imaging. Make sense what I'm saying? So how the lighting works then. So how technically you pull it off and execute that art form, where I can come up with some formula of how ecocentric reality can be approached, and definitely it's more than seeing. Then I have to get engaged with some other senses. Sometimes definitely we are using our eyes to watch a film, but with one sense, you can also evoke other senses. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you like a burger by the picture or advertisement only. Why? Your eyes made you feel that you should eat. So the other senses can be evoked as well through visuals. Definitely, that's not everything, but you can go beyond through this. One sense can generate other sensory appetites as well. So, the first live art performance of Young's composition number 5, the butterflies that he gave, and it's called the composition number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 was not like this. There are music piece of it. So when people were listening to it, so that's why the question from the audience, I pay to listen to music. And you're saying that it exists there. And the butterfly had its music. I couldn't hear it. Yeah, so anyway, so then Abbas Kiarostami, one of my favorite filmmakers, Iranian filmmaker, if you know, made a film, also 2 shorts right now. One made by him, another made by his assistant or disciple. I mean, like he mentored another student. So these 2 short films, which attempted a different sensory experience where only saying is not enough. And kind of a coexistence is approached, let's put it that way. And this one is called 5. The film is called 5 because there are 5 characters dedicated to Ozu. Ozu is another famous character, in real life character. So this is a philosophical dedication to Ozu, but 5 is the name of the film, though they put it in the same way, like the title is 5 dedicated to Ozu. 5 characters, all are non-human characters. So just giving you a background before I play the making of it. I don't have the film here, it's not on YouTube or anywhere else. I saw it very long ago. I'm trying to email libraries to send me a copy of it. It's not in any main streaming platforms as well. So, but I have the making of it, that's in YouTube. And the director is speaking by himself, why he approached it, how it happened, and everything else. And Abbas Kiarostami said, if I was going to invent another title for 5, maybe it would be Watch Again, Look Well. You see how everything is almost, everyone is trying to attempt a different way of seeing things. Or simply look. I think we should extract the values that are hidden in objects and expose them by looking at objects, plants, animals, humans, everything. In my opinion, 5 is the result of this way of looking at things. It's the way of looking at things that gets back to the previous quote that I said, you have eyes doesn't mean you can see. That's the title of a chapter, by the way. It's a beautiful chapter. So I'll share the article with you. This one, you have eyes doesn't mean you can see. It's the title of a chapter. Before I start the film, 5 characters, I haven't talked about them. So one is, the first character is wood, a wood in a seashore. Then the moon is also a character. Duck is also a character. So it's interesting. Let's see how this works. And when he talks about it, that's most important. Now this is an issue here. Gotcha. I don't know what's happening.
برای ساختن فیلم چوب فیلم اول برای ساختن فیلم چوب فیلم اول
What happened? Oh. You all can see? The audio is, it's in Arabic, but the subtitle is there. So I guess the audio won't matter much, right?
برای ساختن فیلم چوب فیلم اول 2 راه میتونه ما رو به نتیجه برسونه. راه اول راه منطقی، راه سینما، راه صنعت و سود بردن از تجارب و تخصص دیگران. شیوه کار به ما می‌کشه برای شکستن به موقع و جدا شدن چوب از هم باید طراحی کرد با کمی مواد منفجره، با یک ریموت کنترل از راه دور میتونه در لحظه مناسب چوب رو به دو تکه تقسیم بکنه. حالا چوب به دو تکه تقسیم شد، قراره که چند تا موج بلندتر بیاد و یک تکه از چوب ها رو همراه خودش ببره و اون تکه در ساحل باقی بمونه و موجهای دیگه نتونن اون رو با خودشون به دریا ببرن. اون هم به این شکل میتونه حل بشه که مثلا با یک سد کوچک موقت میشه جلوی آب رو بست و در لحظه مناسب اون رو باز کرد. اون وقت موجهای بلند میتونن تکه اول رو با خودشون ببرن و از همه دور بکنن و تکه دوم میتونه روی ماسه ساحلی فیکس بشه طوری که امواج نتونن همراه خودشون ببرن. تکه چوب اول میتونه با یک نخ نامرئی توسط کسی که مثلا در یه مایعی نشسته و خارج از قاب قرار داره آروم آروم به طرف خط افق کشیده بشه تا از کار خارج بشه. این کاریست که با استفاده از امکانات و توکاش‌های سینمایی به سادگی قابل دستیابی است. راه حل دوم راه حل ساده‌تر و البته پیچیده‌تری است. این کار به شدت با کار سینمایی که حاصل همکاری تکنسین‌های مختلف و آدم‌های گوناگون با کارآمدهای متفاوت کاملا مغایرت داره. کار تعریف گروه احتیاجی نداره، یکی دو تا یار موافق کافی است. توی این کار شما به همکاری زمین و آب و باد و خاک احتیاج دارید. باید باد موافق بوزید.
So just give a pause it right here because it's very interesting. He's saying it's not a film; it's the making of it, as I said, and he's saying so we need crews for it. It may be simple, but more complex, and the crews could be the waves, the shore, blah blah blah. So that's what his philosophy is behind this whole film, and that definitely it has been documented as well when he was making the film. That intrigued me to see things from a different way. And how other filmmakers are approaching it. Let me get back. And you can watch it the whole thing later as well. I'll share the slides. This is another. This one before I started. So there's another approach. Definitely it's a film, but also, do you guys know about intermediality? Or anything about intermediality? So when multiple mediums interact, because one medium might not be enough to make you engage or to arouse your other senses and all that. So then you blend like in the theater, there was a screen and play going on at the back, and you guys were performing as well, right? So it's multiple mediums involved. Like a film of the same thing that they have been playing. That was part of Brecht's different style of estrangement, that's right. So what I was talking about, this chart, it's intermediate because it has used, definitely it's a film, but also it's a painting. And the production of this was mentored by Abbas Kiarostami, the previous director that I just have shown to you guys. So let's see if I have it here. Switching back and forth because from my laptop, if I play, because of the cable, it buffers and the speed is slow. It depends on this cable, the way speedy a visual would be. Just giving you why I'm switching back and forth. My tree. It's an award-winning, simple short film, no budget required for it. It's a beautiful. We'll watch it fully, 6 minutes, and it's not boring. It's interesting. I can show you guys. It's directed by Sarah. Oh, sorry. Nice. What's happening here? What's happening? So two mediums are interacting with each other. It's interesting. Someone comes and cut down the tree. usually finish the whole, even the credits, but now we are running out of time, so I'll just pause it right there. I'll not ask what does it mean. That's an ethnographic approach. And ethnography means understanding other culture from your own lens and eyes, which is not my personal ethics. You know what I mean? Accept it the way it is, the way it exists. Don't try to analyze it. Like, because when we analyze, we put our own lenses, our own previous perceived notions, preconceived ideologies, the way we were born and brought up, rather than accepting the way it exists there. You know what I mean? So finding meaning, that's a different game. So what does it mean? Was it a dream? What happened there? That's a different question, you know? But the point is, there are films, how they address ecocentric reality, where non-human living entities are part as characters. That's the point I was trying to make. And there are other interesting doc films as well. So, for example, this was an HBO doc film from India that went for Oscar nominations and won Cannes Film Fest as well. Just a trailer I'll show you. Oh, that's... I have to show it here. So that you can get a different sense of where is it? Oh, that breeds. This is very literal, as well as what is. Gotcha. The approach is very different here as well, compared to the previous ones that we just have seen. The film title is All That Breeds.
जिंदगी खुद एक तरह की रिश्तेदारी हम सब हवा की बिरादरी जो जो चीजें सांस लेती हैं उनमें कोई फर्क नहीं दिखना चाहिए
It was more literal, like it literally said that we all are a community of air, and whatever breeds should not be differentiated. We should not separate and put a hierarchy on whatever, on all the living entities. So, let's get back to the slides. So we got some examples of doc films, the way it is approached. Now, I'll talk a few things about how fiction films approach this thing, this ideology. Oh, we are still there? Why we're still there? Oh. recommend two films. I recently watched this one. This is a new one. All Dirt Grows Taste of Salt. I watched it in Heartland Film Festival. That's in Indiana. November every year they usually have the fest. It was mesmerizing. Someone from NYU graduate, Raven Jackson. Then I reached out to the person as well because I was writing a paper on it. So just because I couldn't access the film, it was a festival film. It was not uploaded anywhere else. Then I watched it again when I was writing the paper. And this is another quite long ago that has won several awards like Cannes, Sundance, nominated for Oscar as well. The Scent of Green Papaya. So these two films, their cinematographic treatment, I'll show a few scenes as well, how fiction film approaches. Because in fiction, the expectation of audience is different, right? Because you want to get engaged with the story. Docu-film, I understand mostly researchers watch it or particular organizations. The general mass audience is not the target audience in documentary films. But in fiction, you have really an audience, quote unquote, the way we understand the word audience, right? And then how do they tell the story, which is difficult because and then also I'll show you some of my thing. I approach something as well. Let's see why. Now I'll show you from The Scent of Green Papaya, which is a very interesting film. Gotcha. It should be 9 minutes. Yeah. Yep. So just giving you a background of it. So there's a little girl. And it was filmed in France, but the setting and the story is about Vietnam. And there is household servant / maid culture there. So the girl works and the mom also works in a very well-off family. They work as household assistants there. And the way we see the kid growing up. The main character is the kid. Mui, her name. And when we see her growing up, hardly there's any dialogue in the film. She interacts with her surrounding in a different way. So we get to know nature through her interactions, the way she interacts. Let's see a few samples. Just this sequence. She looks into the window, outside the window. Yes. She could smell it. That's what she was sniffing. And the way she gazes. The whole film has a different level of sensory experience. That's her mom cooking and talking to the kid.
lấy dao đổ vào đây. Xong rồi chia ra 2 dĩa, một dĩa ở dưới, một dĩa ở trên. Nhưng nhớ chừa lại một miếng để lại cho mình. Bà tụng kinh xong rồi, sắp tới giờ dọn con cho rau vào nước sôi đi.
Bà là bà nội hay bà ngoại?
Bà nội, rửa tay đi. Bà nội đã mất chồng, sau khi ông Vũ ra đời, bây giờ bà già rồi. Bà không.
Just skipping a little bit.
I won't play it now, just showing you some clips, the way cinematography, audio has been used in this film in different ways, where you see other characters than human as well, or whenever we see, even in close shots, human characters, the way they interact with nature was highly emphasized and highly highlighted. It's not like a background anymore. So the difference that we know as foreground, background, that's also hierarchical terms. When these nouns have different meanings, and that those are hierarchical as well. Because if I take a picture of yours, and the background is the background, the foreground is you, the human-centric approach that you usually have. Now, we have a story here, a human story, but how the director creatively approaching or aesthetically approaching different ways, not only to talk about or centering the human, rather incorporating an inclusive, a symbiotic approach. Symbiosis as in coexistence of other characters as well, like you see here, and the way she interacts. Here, as in the fiction one, so we see the characters interacting or engaging with the other stuffs, with the other everything living entities all around, whether it's nature, whether it's tree, or the scent of green papaya, because papaya is a very significant, let's say, in every culture, there could be significant elements. So green papaya is very significant in Vietnamese culture. That's why it has anthropological approach as well. Some cultural metaphors. Now, one film that I'll show you, that was mine, that I made just for fun, a personal one, like last summer, before joining IU. In summer, I was thinking what to do and to take the stress out of myself. Sometimes that's the best approach, the creative approach. It's a short trailer. I'll not show you the whole one. Just to give you an idea, that was a funny one, I would say. I don't know. Where's the show? What I can do is just a sec. I have it in my laptop. The thing is, I don't have it there. Ta-da.